Hey everybody, Les Patterson here. It is day 15 of the Push-Up 22 Challenge to raise awareness of the 22 veterans that are killed by suicide on average every day. One of the things to think about with veterans, sometimes they struggle when one of their buddies didn't make it home. It can be hard. There's survivor's guilt. That they made it home and their buddy did not. Particularly if they may have been with their buddy when their buddy was killed, involved in the action that happened at the time. It can be an underlying cause of like PTSD, depression, suicidal thoughts. So today, in honor of those who did not make it home, I want to remember a friend of mine who didn't. His name was Michael Allred, Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps, a friend of mine from here in Hyde Park. When I was getting ready to go to Iraq myself, Michael had already been, and he was home on leave on Christmas of 2003. His younger brother Daniel was receiving his Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts. And I was there, and Michael and I had a chance to visit. And he and I sat down for several hours in his parents' front room, and we talked about many things. But the one thing that sticks with me the most is he told me, he said, your training will keep you alive 80% of the time. Now, I didn't have to ask the question, but eventually I did. So what about the other 20%? Well, he said sometimes the other guy just gets lucky. Well, on September 6th of 2004, the other guy got lucky. And Michael was one of 7 Marines and several of Iraqi National Guardsmen they were working with that were killed when a suicide bomber pulled up next to the truck that they were in. Michael's loss hit our family really hard. They were close friends of ours. I was already on my way to Iraq at the time, training down at Fort Bliss, Texas, with my National Guard crew. And when Michael was killed, one of the things that his parents did, Brett and Zell Allred, they came over to see my family to make sure that that my family was doing all right. So in the midst of their grief, they reached out to lift another. We talked about that yesterday. Sometimes in our grief, lifting another, helping another can ease our own grief. And I've seen that with Brett and Zell and their family over the years, if they've channeled their grief into helping others. Well, one other person that kind of helped with that was a friend of Michael's. His name was Michael Buck. I'm not going to say his last name right, so I'll let you just you read it on the notes. It's an Italian last name. But Buck and Michael had planned a road trip when they got home from Iraq to come and visit the Allred family here in Hyde Park. Well, December after Michael was killed in Iraq, Buck made that trip to Hyde Park on his own, and he came to see the Allred family. While he was here, the Allreds knew that one of my sons was struggling a little bit more with me being gone. I was in Iraq at that time, and so the Allreds brought Buck over to see my family. And they put their arm around my family, and Buck reassured my kids, my boy, that their dad was going to be all right. And so today, I remember the fallen. I remember Michael Allred, and I'm wearing a shirt which you can't see, but this is the logo that the Allred family put together, a thing called the Ride for the Fallen. That's the combat cross you see on there, representing combat boots his rifle, his helmet, and his dog tags. And so, Michael, I love you, bud. I miss you. Thanks for what you did to serve our country. So 22 today for Michael. And my lucky 13. $22 and one more for good measure. There you go. Thanks for letting me share with you today. Thanks for letting me remember Michael. And remember Michael's family, who we love with all of our heart. Today I nominate Elizabeth Branch, Liz Branch, a friend of mine, youngest of the Branch family that I mentioned yesterday. And I put the challenge out to you, Liz. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Sure love you.